Yet another attempt at repealing and replacing Obamacare. But there's a couple of elements that rhyme with Obamacare. Welfare. Stay with me. I'm Randall Terry. This is Voice of Resistance. Welcome to today's program, friend. I hope that you're doing well. I want to risk being pedantic, just for the sake of discussion. Because as we look at the repeal and replace of Obamacare, the question that keeps cropping up is, what about people with pre-existing conditions? What do we do with them, for them? Because that was one of the key elements of Obamacare that altered the equation, if you will, of American insurance companies. And part of that equation with Obama's legislation was that he was going to compel insurance companies or the government to take people with pre-existing conditions. Now, just for sake of comedic relief, what if your house burned down and you did not have fire insurance? Should the insurance company be compelled to sell you insurance to pay for a new house to be built after your house is burnt to the ground? I mean, that's ultimately analogous to what we're discussing. Insurance companies survive, make a profit, and take care of most of their patrons based upon actuarial tables, okay? It is a type of glorified gambling. And if you're dealing with companies that are scores of years old, over 100 years old, because there are some really strong insurance companies out there, your insurance coverage is a really safe bet, okay? Literally millions of people have been getting life insurance, benefits, health insurance coverage, house insurance, theft insurance, auto insurance, using round numbers. 1,000 people buy into an insurance program at X number of dollars a month. And the insurance company knows, based upon statistical research, that a certain percentage of them are going to file a claim, okay? Most of them are not going to file a claim. So the ones that do file a claim, their claim, which is usually going to be more than what the money was that they put in over 6 months or 6 years or 60 years, and they're going to take the money from the people over here who did not make a claim, and they're going to use it to pay for that cost. It's really pretty simple. And in addition to that, the insurance company must pay its staff, pay its executives, and then have a certain amount of money in the bank in case something goes terribly wrong, okay? We don't want any large insurance companies, or small insurance companies for that matter, failing again. So when an insurance company issues fire insurance, sometimes they'll send an inspector. Okay, I look around, I don't see any wires that are dangling, I don't see a gallon of gas sitting in the living room. They recognize this is a reasonable house, this is a safe bet. These are people who don't want their house to burn down. They don't have a moral hazard. You know, they insured a double wide trailer for $1 million. There's no moral hazard. The moral hazard is that I'm tempted to just light a match and burn down my double wide and collect $1 million. So the insurance company looks and says, that's a good bet. We will go ahead and we will insure this. But what if they go to the house and the house is an ash heap? Do you think the insurance company say, well, sure, we'll insure that ash heap for $300,000. We can tell that you had a 3,000 square foot home here with 2.5 baths, and yeah. In fact, look, there's the sink in the ashes right now. I can see that. Wow. They're not going to insure a home that has already burnt down. How could they? They would be bankrupt immediately. If they were compelled to do that everywhere they went, they would be bankrupt immediately. So the same holds true with healthcare. If insurance companies are compelled to take people with pre-existing conditions, say cancer, then it's only a matter of time, in a very short amount of time, when the insurance company will be bankrupt. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Have Muslim terrorists hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam? Or is there more to the story? The answer lies in the life of one man, Mohammed, the founder of Islam. Muslim terrorists see themselves inside a 1,400-year-old story, a narrative that focuses on specific events in the life of Mohammed. We are going to look at Mohammed's life using their most sacred literature. We will look at Mohammed at the Battle of Badr. We'll see him deal with those who mock him. We'll see the times when he used deception. We'll witness Mohammed's anti-Semitism. And yes, we will discuss Mohammed and his teachings concerning sex, slavery, and jihad. Friend, if you want to understand Islamic terrorism, get this series today. President Obama told everyone that they could keep their doctor and that their health care costs would go down. And we all know now that was a lie, and they probably knew it was a lie. So why have health costs skyrocketed? In some places they've gone up 50%, in some places they've gone up 100%. Well, here's the answer. Pre-existing conditions. And that's a big part of this. If insurance companies were compelled to issue insurance policies for people who had a home that was burnt to the ground. First of all, most homes are not burnt to the ground. Right? The number of homes right now in America that are an ash heap that do not have fire insurance, it's a very small percentage, right? So if the government did compel insurance companies to provide fire insurance for houses that were already burnt, the insurance companies would look at it, they would squawk, and they would say, fine, we're going to increase everyone's premium across the board because the money doesn't come out of nowhere. So everyone's premium has to go up so we can pay, because we're being compelled, we can pay for this person to build a new house. All right? Just switch illustrations to pre-existing conditions. We're not talking about somebody who has a cosmetic issue. We're not talking about plantar's warts. We're not talking about, oh, I've got a cold, it's a pre-existing condition. We're talking about pre-existing conditions such as any type of cancer, HIV, okay, severe psychological disorders. We're talking about pre-existing conditions that cost a lot of money to either treat or to maintain. And so when Congress passed a law that was going to insist that people with pre-existing conditions were not excluded, they guaranteed, it's just a math equation, they guaranteed that everyone's health care costs would skyrocket. Because unlike the number of houses that are sitting in an ash heap right now, not many, there are a significant number of Americans, in the millions, that have a significant health burden, okay? And the cost of building a new house, $250,000, $300,000, all right. The cost of treating cancer, a family member of mine had cancer, 1 month of treatment at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore was over $100,000. 1 month, okay? We ended up going to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, and thank God St. Jude Children's Research Hospital does not charge parents, okay? So we were self-pay, and if we had gone to an insurance company and said, hey, one of our children has cancer, would you please give us a policy? why would the insurance company have said, yes, we'll do that? We will take your $600 a month payment or $1,000 a month payment, and we will obligate ourselves to $2 million of liability. Because ultimately, $1.5 to $2 million is what that particular type of cancer was going to take. Maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, because certain complications. So, are you tracking with me still? So now the government, the compromise is we're going to use taxpayer money to take care of people with pre-existing conditions. All right. That is a valid debate, and it scratches the itch regarding compassion. I don't want to be hard-hearted. I don't want to throw people in the street. I don't want to see people go bankrupt because of pre-existing condition. But it does not alter the mathematic reality. Somebody's got to pay for it. And it also does not alter the ethical, political, sociological, economic reality that this is in fact a type of welfare. Okay? It just is. And if we want to say that socialized medicine and us paying for our neighbor's health care is what we must do, we can have that discussion. But friend, let's not sugarcoat it. It's a type of welfare. Over the years, I've had the privilege of interviewing some incredible guests, like Dr. Alan Keyes, former ambassador to the United Nations, like Dr. Alveda King, niece of the slain civil rights activist Dr. Martin Luther King, and Judge Roy Moore, two-time head of the Supreme Court in Alabama. These interviews are so powerful, so memorable, and so inspirational. We have decided to make them available to you on 2 DVDs for only a gift of $15. That's it. If you love this ministry, you want to support us, and you want these to show to your family and friends, or just for yourself, to watch at your leisure, get them today. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700. Welcome back to the program, friend. I'm Randall Terry. So what do we do? What do we do with people with pre-existing conditions? What do we do with healthcare needs for people who do not have health care? I was debating this years ago, 25 years ago, when I had foster children. And I was debating this with somebody, and I was on the side that, well, we take care of them. The government takes care of them. And I was talking to somebody who said, no, you're forcing people to pay with their tax money to pay for someone else's health care. And I said, not thinking it through, I used the classic liberal argument. Well, then what are we going to do with them? And my opponent, who, in this impromptu debate over dinner, who was a cruel, and I mean genuinely cruel, disturbed human being, said, let them die. You know, my mind's going to Scrooge. Are there no workhouses? Are there no, let the surplus population die. So I said, you're sick. And I just got up and left the table. Now, being a few years older, hopefully a few years wiser, and having done a little bit of reading, studying of history, I recognize that his equation and mine was a false equation. Okay? What do we do with them? We do with them what we have done as a people, what we have done since the dawn of Christianity, the church. I've been to India one time for 1 week on a mission trip. One of the most compelling and gut-wrenching, somewhat rewarding and inspirational trips of my whole life. I saw people washing their clothes inside of water that looked like sewage water, literally black water, vile. all right? Women standing waist deep in water that was black to the human eye and washing their clothes. People lying in the street. I mean, it's really and truly like what you've seen. If you've ever seen a movie, or if you've ever seen a documentary about India and the echo of their untouchables system, the caste system, it's true, and it still exists today. That is where Mother Teresa went. To that. To those dark holes, to those hellish, fiendish, cruel places where humanity treats humanity without the person of Jesus and the commandments of Jesus, to love your neighbor. I was hungry and you fed me. I was sick, you visited me. I was naked and you clothed me. Go to India and see the fruit of Hinduism. See the fruit of the caste system. See the fruit of Jesus not being the Lord of their culture, and of Christian theology and doctrine and commandments not being the propelling force behind human relations. That's what the world looks like without Christ, and that's what medical care looks like without Christ in his church. People washing their clothes in black runoff sewage water, and the sick left to die in the street. Now, conversely, as Charles Spurgeon said, let the God who answers by orphanages be God. The fact is, friend, if you look at the history of medicine, it is the history of the church. Yes, there have been people who were not Christians along the way that made discoveries in the medical field that were a help to humanity. But medicine, the practice of medicine, hospitals, caring for the sick, caring for the dying, taking people off the street. The yellow fever in Arkansas and in Tennessee, it was the nuns and it was the priests who cared for the sick. I just read in the last week, every single nun in the city of Memphis and the surrounding area died during one of the yellow fever plagues. Why? They were caring for the sick. The history of hospitals, the single largest health care provider in America today is the Catholic Church, friend. I've got to take a break, but let the full weight of that sink in on you. It's the Catholic Church. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life. Best-selling author Dr. Bill Warner said, What Would Mohammed Do is the best movie series, TV production on the life of Muhammad and Islamic terrorism that has ever been produced. Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700, or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen. We have a special offer for those of you that can give a $50 gift to Voice of Resistance, the Randall Terry Pack. I will give you all 5 of my books that are still in print, and my music CD that we cut in Nashville, and here's what else. I'll autograph all of them for you. And if you want me to say to Tom or to Sue so that you can give it as a gift to someone else or keep it in your library as a part of your collection, I'll personalize each one. Just say on the computer who you want it to go to, or tell the person who answers the phone, please have Randall personalize his autograph to these people. I'm going to give a phone number for those of you who don't want to use your computer. Call 304-289-3700. You can get Dragon Slayers, Accessory to Murder, Why Does a Nice Guy Like Me Keep Getting Thrown in Jail, and other books. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700. So I'm getting to solutions. Welcome back, by the way. I'm Randall Terry. You're watching Voice of Resistance. I know that I can say it. It's the name of my show. Let the church be the church. I mean, here's one of the big problems that we have. Right now, the church is on the government lactose, okay? The Catholic Church is receiving hundreds of millions of dollars in government money to help run its hospitals. Now, again, the Catholic Church is not the only church that has hospitals. The Baptist hospital, you've seen a Methodist hospital. We've got a Baptist hospital in this area. We've got a Methodist hospital in this area. Some areas have a Presbyterian hospital. Many areas have a Jewish hospital. I've yet to see an Assembly of God hospital. You can see Lutheran medical facilities. But the largest single healthcare provider in the country is the Catholic Church. So a simple solution for those with pre-existing conditions would be to structure our taxes in such a way that unleashes the church to be the church, rather than harnessing the church and bridling the church and feeding the church a bag of oats and putting a carrot and a stick to motivate the church. Just back off. Let the church raise money and care for the poor. The end. Oh, Randall, that would never work. Really? Really? Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that our pathetic little failing experiment in the last 50 or 60 years in America sets the standard for all of human history? Really? Well, Randall, there's a lot more diseases today and things are different. And that's absolutely true. Have you ever heard of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital? Now, I don't know the number. I have to verify this, but because one of our children was treated there, we took an acute interest in their finances because they never charged us. And our son is alive because of them. So they have, according to one report that I heard, they have almost 100 years operating budget in the bank. I don't know if that's true. I know that it takes over $2 million a day to run the hospital, okay? Over $2 million a day. And I know that right now they have years of money in the bank. And they don't charge parents. They don't charge for their care. Why can't other hospitals do that? In other words, if it becomes a matter of compassion and it becomes a matter of loving our neighbor, people love to give to St. Jude. They do. They love it because they know it's going for something so profound, something so beautiful, something so compassionate. Well, if every city in America had its own version of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital that cared for the poor, that cared for the needy, that cared for those without health insurance, that cared for those without medical coverage because of a pre-existing condition, are you really telling me that we couldn't pull it off as human beings? I mean, think of ways that you could ease the burden. For example, we could say to doctors, if you'll give 1 day a week, just brainstorm here, you give 1 day a week, half a day a week, to the care of people who have no insurance, you cannot bill them, then we will not charge you income tax. Ooh. What do you think of that? Just 1 day a week, give 1 day a week, 20% of your time, where you don't charge a single patient that walks through the door. And we, in turn, will not charge you any income tax as a physician. Hey, we don't force clergy to pay for Social Security and FICA. Did you know that? Clergy, they say, well, clergy are exempt. They don't have to pay Social Security tax. They don't have to pay FICA tax because they're clergy. They're part of the church. Maybe we could just look at medical people as an extension of the church. I'm just throwing out ideas, people. But we've got to back away from the idea that the government is our savior and our healer and our provider, because it's not. Those things belong to God, and he uses his church.